Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I would do a slightly different video for you today. In fact, I think I might even make this a little mini series. Now, like most bushcrafters, I tend to gravitate towards the more traditional side of things. At least that's where my interest lays. And I've been thinking a lot recently about sort of traditional or historical ways of sharpening tools. Now, we're all familiar with the modern water stones, oil stones, diamond stones, nice lovely right angles and that kind of thing. In days gone by, these things weren't necessarily available. And I really like the idea of kind of being out and about somewhere and needing to sharpen one of my tools and just sort of essentially picking up a stone off the ground. Now, not everything will work, obviously. And I just have to say, I've been doing a bit of research into this. And over here, I've got a couple of little examples of sort of what people call river stones. So these are stones that have sat in things like rivers and had water passing over them and smoothed them down. And these are the kind of things that, as far as I can find out anyway, are really, really good for sharpening. So as an example, you would have seen this in one of my previous videos. This is my Black Bear Bowie by Cold Steel. And the idea is you take a relatively flat stone, pebble, rock, call it what you like, and you use it in a very similar manner to your bench stones, except you're moving the stone rather than moving the blade. So the idea would be and in theory, that's how it works. Now, this is a particularly fine grit, grade, whatever you want to call it, stone. So this is better off for kind of finishing. Something like this, which you may or may not be able to see very well, is a much coarser stone. And this bit's been a little bit wet where it was on the ground. And actually, from what I've seen, dipping these in water does help the abrasive qualities. And you may notice when I run this down the blade in just a second, a different sound. And that's the sort of because this is a coarser stone. And again, I'm not sure if this will pick up on the camera very well, but if you look at the edge here, hopefully that's picking up on getting a little bit of light on it. So that's the standard factory edge. I haven't sharpened this yet. And if you look on there, you can almost see kind of a micro bevel. And just running my finger on this, it actually does feel a lot sharper than it did a moment ago. And I think that's the thing, is that, we're so used to having Morers and other sort of expensive bushcraft style knives with either Scandi grinds or very, very well made secondary bevels, that we're used to things being real shaving sharp, and we maintain them that way. But one of the things I'm looking at doing in the near future, and sorry about the planes going overhead, guys, one of the things I'd like to try and do in the future is to try and get almost a sort of a semi-historical kit together. I'm not going to go all out. I'm not going to spend loads of money on kind of necessarily massive traditional materials and that kind of thing. They're a lot more expensive than modern day materials are now as a general rule. But what I'm going to do is just get a sort of a basic pack, a few tools. I was considering using this, and you may remember from the video I did about this Bowie. I would really like to get a proper Bowie knife, a proper traditional, well-made. This is essentially a machete, a cheaply made machete that looks like a Bowie. And I would really, really like to get a proper Bowie knife. And even if I spend a bit of money on it, it's going to be, from the day it comes out the box, it's going to be a beater. What I'd like to do is take something like this, or maybe something a little bit better than this, to have in my kit with me, and this is all I'm going to use to keep it sharp. And I'll do another video on that as I get to a stage of if I do buy something along those lines. But yeah, so that was this video. Natural stones. Obviously, you can pick them up from anywhere. From what I understand from doing a little bit of research, something that's been sitting in a river or the seabed or an inlet going into the sea with water running over it that smooths it down is better. Next week I want to do another video on something called lapping, which some of you may be aware of. It's where you can take two stones or a stone and another abrasive material, and you can essentially work them down so that this sort of rather lumpy piece here, I think I'll probably use this stone, this rather lumpy bit becomes flat. So in theory, it's then even better for sharpening your blades. And if something this kind of size, if I can get a flat edge on here, I can sit there and work the blade across there without any worry about getting hollows and indentations and that kind of thing. So that was just this really quick video, guys. I'm really keen to find out more about natural stones and how they work and whether they do work, whether they're any good. I like to think they probably will be, and as I say, another video in the near future to show how you can sort of take one of these natural found stones and turn them into something yourself that you can use to keep your kit and things like your Moras and your Scandi grinds. You can probably do it with this, but you'll end up developing a secondary bevel. And I like the idea of having a completely flat surface, a bit like my bench stones, but in a portable form. And yes, I can go out and I can buy a little pocket sharpening stone with sort of a fine grit on one side and a ceramic on the other. I know that, and I have a couple of them myself anyway. But I do like the idea of making something yourself that is essentially free. And that kind of goes hand in hand with one of the whole bushcraft and the working on a budget thing, and I really like that idea. So hopefully it's something that will pan out. I have plans for this and a few other stones, and we'll see how that goes. So I hope it was useful, guys. Just give you something to think about. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Cheers, guys.